I begged. I tried very hard to convince him that he didn't have to do that, that I didn't want him to do it, that we needed him to continue. But I respect his decision. And I promise you that I will work very hard to try to keep things and improve things and keep working hard with this amazing team. And I thank you for your support. And he's been more than a leader to us. He's a friend. He's worked with great compassion. He's really been such a leader. Everyone that's worked with him just admires him and respects him immensely for everything that he's done and the way he treats people, his humanity. He's our family. We are a family here, right? And every one of us, all the judges that serve here, the GMs, if we have something in our personal lives, he's always there. He takes everything on. He's there to help us, to guide us. So we wanted to give you a little something to let you know how much we love you and we respect you. So we have a little gift for you, a little surprise. Okay. And I have to put my glasses on because I can't read it without them. And it says, Honorable Orlando A. Prescott, in appreciation of your 14 years of dedicated, loyal, and faithful service to the children and families of Miami-Dade County and the 11th Judicial Circuit of the state of Florida as the administrative judge of the Juvenile Division and the Unified Children's Court Division. And this is from all your family. We'll take a picture afterwards, okay? You want to say a few words?
I'll say this. Please be seated. This has significance for me. Because every week, I buy flowers for my wife. And I tell her, the flowers are not for the home, they're for the lady of the house. So when you give me this vase, when I place flowers in it, for me, not for her. When I place flowers in it, it's not the beauty of the flowers that I'll be beholding. It's the vessel that I'll be holding, the beauty of the flowers. And that's you. Thank you very much.
He really is so eloquent, isn't he? So now I'd like to invite our Chief Judge up to say a few words. Thank you.
Y'all know me, and you know I don't shy away from the mic, but following Orlando Prescott is something that no one wants to do. So I'm going to keep my remarks pretty brief. First, I just want to say thank you for having me here. I know that this is, I know I belong here to some extent, but whenever I come to this building, I'm so used to my career started at the PD's office on 33rd Street, and it started as a judge also in the dependency division. So when I think of it, I still think of, I know it's so much better to be here, but I still think of that old building and the heart and soul of that building, which was beautiful and which is really carried over here. I want to let you know that because my roots as a lawyer and as a judge are in juvenile, I think I realize more than most people that work in our system who never come through here how important this division is, how important this building is, and everything that goes on here. I used to say it as a lawyer, I used to say it as a new judge 15 years ago, and I still say it now, that if the work can be done well here, then there's no need for anything else. All the other divisions are obsolete. This is truly, I think, I challenge someone to argue with me that the work that goes on here isn't the most important that goes on in Dade County. So kudos to all of you for doing it and for devoting your lives to it. I think that it's especially important now. I don't know that there's ever a time when it's not important, but my God, now when society is hurting, when the community is hurting, you all on the front lines, you're going to see it first. You're seeing it already, and if you can't do what you need to do, then it trickles down to everywhere else, but you guys are definitely on the front lines. The one thing I've loved so much about being chief, there's a lot of things I love, some stuff I don't love so much, but in the last year and a half, actually I keep saying year and a half, it's about to be 2 years, I'm about to start my second term. But everything that's gone on here in the last few years has demonstrated just a tremendous growth and so much stability here. And I think that I'm so grateful that we now have judges that come to this division and want to stay in this division. And they're not staying here just because it's a nice building, because I know that for a while that was the thought. They're staying here because they have a heart and soul for this work, and it's so important. So I want to give a shout out to my judges for staying here and for committing to being here. I want to give a really big special shout out to Judge Prescott, again, for not just being the heart and soul of this place for 14 years, for continuing to be very much a part of the heart and soul of this place, but for also having an eye towards the future of this place. And that is, you don't see people let go when they're in a position of authority or position of power that easily. And he came to me, I think he brought it up a couple times, and I kind of just ignored him a couple times. And then I want to say, I think it was the end of last year where he sort of was a little bit more direct and like there was a time on it. And it was really, a selfless act, because I know that he loves what he's doing, but it's also, he had an eye towards succession, and he had an eye towards really the success of this place, understanding that if you don't cultivate leadership, if you don't think about tomorrow, you're not a good leader if all you're thinking about is, the day that you leave. You want to leave a legacy, and the legacy that he leaves is what he's, really inspired in the judges that are following him. So thank you, Judge Prescott, for your service. Thank you for your continued service. And thank you to Judge Caballero, who did cry and did not take this on, all that voluntarily, but who has stepped up and has really hit the ground running and has, so many ideas and is going to continue on the legacy. And I can't talk about legacy without acknowledging someone who's in this room, and I wish your little sidekick was with you, but Judge Jerry Beth Cohen and Judge Cindy Luderman, who were very much the lifeblood of this place for such a long time, and I was lucky enough to learn. I stay at their coattails and be inspired by them. And I just want to say, before we move on with the program, really thank you to all of you. I get the pleasure of being up here and, speaking, but these are the moments when I get to stop and acknowledge a moment like this, enjoy a moment like this, look out into the audience and see so many people who are in front of me or at my side, or I wish Rita Switchko was here, because Rita used to whisper in my ear what to do, and Bertie Cecil would whisper in my ear what to do, and Esther Jacobo would whisper in my ear when I was a new judge what to do, and I'd be like, okay, and Dorian, if Dorian Mathis was in here, for sure, I looked at Dorian sometimes like, what do I say? But it's so inspiring for me to be able to go and do what I need to do, to know that this place is in such good hands. And there's so many people here again who are the heart and soul and the lifeblood of this building. So thank you all for committing, for doing it day in, day out, for doing it day in and day out. Most of the time you're doing it without a lot of thanks and without a lot of recognition. People don't even recognize, even the building is big and beautiful, people don't even realize what goes on here. But it is such an important job, and it is such an important mission that you all serve. So thank you for that. And that it's just really an honor for me to be able to congratulate our Wall of Honor honorees. This happened last year too. I'm like, how come you're not on the wall already? I was like, how is Tracy Howard, how is Taylor Wall, how are they not already on that wall? I thought they were already on the wall. So it's really beautiful to know that there's still people we can honor on the wall, and that we are again creating hopefully new people who are going to be on the Wall of Honor in the years ahead. So with that, congratulations, and congratulations to all of you for another wonderful year, and thank you for letting me be part of this today.
Thank you, Chief Judge, for taking time. She has so many invitations, I'm sure, every single day. And
Fires to put out.
she's got lots of fires to put out. She has a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things on her agenda, and I really appreciate we all appreciate you being here with us today and sharing those heartfelt thoughts with us. Thank you. So at this point of our show, we were expecting to have the children from the school, our charter school, the Downtown Miami Charter School, which is across the street, but they weren't able to be here in person this year. So they have sent us a video. And I'm going to ask you all to stand first, because we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance, and they're going to lead us through it. Okay? We're ready. You may be seated for this portion. There's a little song for us. Thank you. That is always a treat. Now, we don't get to give them the teddy bears this year because they're not here, but we'll send it to them. So, all right. So now I'm going to invite the president of the Miami-Dade Bar Association, Mr. Roger Slade, to come up and give us a few words. Thank you. We're so grateful.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow lawyers, members of the judiciary, as Judge Safey just pointed out, today may be my last day on the job, or close to my last day on the job, because we're turning it over to a new president tonight at our installation. I'm hoping I'll see some of you there. So it's sort of bittersweet, but I'm hoping that maybe I left somewhat of a legacy. Normally, our new president, Suzette Russomano, would have been here today, but she's deep in preparations for tonight's gala. She may need more preparation than I do. So thank you for inviting me to speak here today. I spent some time in this courthouse many, many years ago, and I was talking to Judge Cohen about this. When I first started practicing and I first came to Miami, I did a bunch of pro bono cases for the Guardian program. We actually went to trial on a few of them, and I got to learn about the intensity and the difficulty of the work that's done here. I would like to say that we can try to find a better connection between the Miami-Dade Bar and this courthouse than we have now. I would like to see more lawyers doing pro bono work and helping you here. So I'm going to invite you to try and reach out to me to see if we can establish that connection a little bit stronger. But let me first get back to why we're here, to congratulate our honorees. And one of the criteria, as I understand it, for these honorees is the concept of professionalism. And that's one of the reasons that they were chosen. Judge Safey invited me to be part of the Professionalism Committee for the Circuit Court, which I was very happy to do. It's a very important topic to me personally. Having practiced law in this community for many years and having seen all sorts of things, some really great examples and some not so great examples. So it's very important. In the legal profession in general, but in this courthouse in particular, I think, because I feel that the subjects that are covered here tend to be very emotional. When it comes to children, the stakes are very high. You know, what I deal with mostly is money, and people tend to get worked up about things having to do with money, but when it comes to people's children, I think there's a different level of intensity that you see raised, and that's obviously what you do here. But what we want to do, obviously, is we work for and we advocate for children's rights here. Many of us, most of us perhaps have children, so we understand what Judge Prescott was saying about, and that was a beautiful poem, by the way, about the difficulties and the challenges we face not only in raising children, but unfortunately when they have to come to the court system. So I can only imagine how difficult it must be to deal with these issues every day and try to maintain your level of calm, your professionalism, and your just demeanor in the face of all sorts of things that I can only imagine what happens on a daily basis. So I was really very interested to know about Judge Prescott's criteria for this award, and so I looked it up. It may have been one of your emails. And so generally, it refers to the commitment to and advocating for the best interest of clients, including children and families, a high level of professionalism and honesty in the practice of law, which I think sometimes eludes us, impeccable character, the ability to create and maintain meaningful interpersonal relationships with members of the legal and non-legal community, the ability to establish collaborative relationships with members of the Florida Bar to solve conflicts and reach consensus, accessibility to clients, tenacity and commitment to resolving conflict, excellent negotiation skills. And so these are all things, obviously, was what motivated this committee to provide this award to you. But the one thing that Judge Prescott included, which I caught my eye, was having a sense of humor. And I think that that is something that eludes us sometimes. So I'm expecting that when the remarks are given from the people who accept the award, we'll hear some of that sense of humor. But I also think that that's a very important thing for us to do and have on a daily basis, because without that, life is even that much harder. So that's a gift if you have that and you can use that to your advantage. So I appreciate you including that, because that struck a chord with me. I try to laugh at things sometimes during the course of the day. So I want to congratulate the honorees today, and I want to thank you for inviting me here. I think it's a wonderful award and very important work that you do here in this courthouse. And the one thing I would encourage you all to do, I don't know if anybody's, I know that you're going to be at the installation tonight. Fortunately and unfortunately, it was sold out. But I would like to encourage everybody here who practice law, working lawyers, to get a little bit more involved in Miami-Dade Bar. We need a better component in the bar from this sector of our profession. We tend to have a lot of commercial lawyers, a lot of litigators. So one of the things we were trying to do is to integrate more, get more transactional lawyers, get more children's advocates, more family lawyers. So I would encourage everybody to do that. So I'm looking forward to hearing all the speeches. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you, Mr. Slade, and really, we could not have this event if it wasn't for the support of the Miami-Dade Bar Association. Thank you so much. All right, so the time has come. So we have with us today a distinguished lawyer herself, who will be presenting an award, our first award, which is the John F. Balikas Award, to Ms. Howard. So I'm going to invite Madison Levine to come up and do the presentation of the award.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Madison Levine, and Tracy Howard is my mother. So many of you remember when I was a baby running around the old courthouse with my dad, the late Judge Steve Levine. And the Wall of Honor recipient today, Taylor Wall, and the presenter, Judge Cohen, remember these days very well. I actually returned to the Children's Courthouse while in law school as an intern with the Children and Youth Law Clinic, where I represented children in extended foster care. And I returned again as an assistant state attorney in the juvenile division. And I now stand here as the only attorney in town who has a plaque honoring both her mother and her father on the Wall of Honor in the Children's Courthouse. So I'm very, very, very proud. Very exciting day. So there are many attributes that my mom possesses that qualify her to receive this award, but I think the greatest quality is her appreciation for the humanity in the work that is done here. My mom has always been a humanitarian. She focuses on those in need and seems to find good people who are having a hard time and is always willing to lend a helping hand. She has spent her time and energy assisting those she felt have the potential to contribute to society. She's a wonderful and great listener, and she gives wise and honest advice and guidance. She also understands the struggle of being a single mom, and she can empathize with those in that situation. For as long as I can remember, my mom has been involved in dependency court, which I guess now is 30 years. And I'm proud of all the people that she has helped along the way. And I now present her with the John Balikas Professionalism Award. So congrats, Mom. I don't have the award. Here. Oh, it's here. There you go.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Madison. Wow, this is nice. Well, thank you all for coming this afternoon. And I always mark my time in dependency court by Madison's age. I was already working here when I became pregnant with her, and she's going to be 34 years old this year. So it's been a long time. Oh, I thought you were talking to her. So, you know, I guess if you stick around long enough, someone's going to recognize you and see you. So I guess my theory proves true today. So this award, as was said before, is given to those who show respect and professionalism to the legal profession. And so what does that mean, and how is that demonstrated? I do remember, as Judge Safey was saying, when we were over on 27th Avenue in the other courthouse. And it was not as modern or as functional or as beautiful as this building, but we did have a lot of camaraderie. And we had free access to each other, we had free access to the judges and their staff, we could come and go as we pleased, and it was a very unusual circumstance. It was an informal environment, but we all were able to work together under those conditions. And many long-lasting friendships were formed that grew out of the respect and professionalism that we had for each other. There, we regularly practiced both before Judge Gelber as well as Judge Gladstone, for whom this current courthouse is named. Both commanded respect and both demanded professionalism. This is also where I met and worked with John Beliquez, for whom this award today is named. He was my friend, and every single day, without exception, he would take his very, very Greek mother and father to a Greek restaurant here in town, be it Mykonos or Maria's restaurant, Greek restaurant. And whenever I ran into him in the restaurant, when I went to leave to pay my bill, it was already taken care of, without exception. He was really a great guy, and he was very kind and a very generous man who really valued family and friendship. So I'm proud to get this award because of that. So, you know, being respectful and professional can mean a lot of things, but to me, it means being always punctual, trying to show up, as Judge Zayas knows, to honor one's commitment to one's team, to be present so that we can all proceed with our business in a timely manner. I think that that is being respectful to those that you work with. I also always try to be prepared. It's important that you know the case that you are arguing and be prepared to address the issue of the case as to why you are in court that day. That's being professional, not wasting time and being ready to proceed. And the other thing is to be honest and to communicate in a way that your message can be heard. Court is very, very stressful, and sometimes it can bring out the worst in people who are not accustomed to being in court or being before a judge. It is vital that we as lawyers remain respectful and professional in the way in which we convey our words so that they can be understood and heard by all who listen to them. And I think we all have our own reasons for staying so long in this field. And I think one of those reasons is that we're always learning, not just about the law, but also about humanity. We are able to witness the evolution and change in people, and we better understand human nature, both good and bad. It helps us all become better members of the society that we live in, better able to contribute and understand others. And the other reason I think we've been here is we're always surprised here. We are surprised by the circumstances that bring families before us. And just when you think you've heard it all, boom, here comes something new. Even after 35 years, that still happens. And it can either make you laugh or cry, but I guess that's the nature of what we do. COVID was also a big surprise. It changed the way that we do business and really tested the limits of our professionalism and respect. And then, of course, we have Zoom. People in their underwear, people in the bathroom, people vaping, people riding on the metro rail, caught off guard swearing, and then our video bombs of nasty behavior. And just when we think we've seen it all, or have we, you know? So there's been a lot of surprising developments here in Florida as well with regard to our case law and statutes. that affect what I think are basic human rights. Protections we once took for granted are changing and being challenged. And that to me is also very surprising. And I'm glad to be able to be here to try to address some of those issues. At the end of the day, everyone here should reflect on how they have contributed to our system and to our work. If you are engaged, professional, and respectful to the system we work in, you cannot leave unchanged. And I know I had a conversation with Judge Hansman, and he made it clear that his time in Dependency Court served him well when having to meet and to speak with all those who lost loved ones in the Champlain Tower tragedy. His time here really did change him. So I am honored to stand before you all today and grateful for the support and appreciation I feel. And I'm proud to be seen as a respectful professional who made a difference. I wanted to thank Russ Shepard, who nominated me for the award, Vince D'Antonio and Margaret Julian, who for many, many years have always had my back, and also to the Unified Children's Court Division, who awarded me this great honor. Thank you all very much.
So, I often say, and no disrespect to the other divisions that we have in Division 204, Division 204, Division 3, 201, a multitude of divisions, that we have the most collegial, professional division in the building, and I really truly believe this. So this is just a recognition from our chambers to you for brightening our day each and every day.
Oh, my goodness.
And I promised I wouldn't embarrass her too much, but I think I may have just done so. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Judge. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
So, Mr. Slade, I think you heard a little bit of her humor. She had us chuckle a few times. She definitely embodies those characteristics. Congratulations, Tracy. So, what a treat. Next person I'm going to call up is someone who was my mentor, one of my mentors. She was a teacher to many of us when we got on the bench. I used to appear before her when I was a lawyer in civil. So it's such a treat to have her back here today to do the presentation of the Wall of Honor. I'm going to invite our very own Jerry Beth Cohen to come up.
I love being here. You know, I don't think I want to come back and sit on the bench necessarily, but I love being here. I love the heart. I love the warmth. I love the fact that when I look into this audience, I started here in '96. Most of you were here, and you're still here. And that's because we're all so dedicated to helping children and families. The warmth that I feel in this room right now and that I feel from all of you is so genuine. There is no other division I know of or can imagine where there's this kind of camaraderie, love, warmth, affection, and dedication. And this is such hard work. And we've all stayed in it for so long. So I applaud all of you and thank you so much. It's so good to see you all. And I'm going to get to you, Taylor, don't worry. But I just want to say, Judge Prescott, that, you know, Judge Caballero talked about people being able to come to you and your humanity. And you probably don't remember, but I do. There were several times that I came to you when I didn't think I could stay in the division any longer, when things weren't going well, and you supported me. You were very gentle, you were kind, and you may have forgotten it, but I haven't. So thank you. And Judge Caballero, I know that you're going to do an amazing job. I've known you, you used to appear in front of me, and then we became friends. I respect you, I love you, and I know that you're gonna do wonderful things. And Judge Safey, I'm so happy that you're the chief judge. I'm so happy that you appointed somebody to run problem-solving courts, which is something I'd wanted for years. And I know what a wonderful job you're doing and what a wonderful friend you are. And Judge Marrero, thank you for taking on the drug court. It's not easy. I see some of Marlene and Karen back there, Cynthia's back there. Yes, thank you so much for taking it on, and I know you're doing a wonderful job. Tracy, before I get to Taylor, I just want to say, no, I don't come here often, so indulge me. I just want to say that I appreciate the fact that you represented so many girls that needed judicial waivers. You, in my book, are a hero for that. You were kind, you were gentle in a very difficult period, and it did not go unnoticed. That was important work, and thank you so much. And I do remember Madison running around, and I remember your father very, very well, and I really adored him. In fact, when he left his office in the old building, he came to me and said, I want you to have this office. So you are so blessed to have two wonderful parents, and you're blessed, Tracy, to have a daughter that can stand up here. What greater gift is there than to have your daughter stand up here and give you an award? Okay, Taylor, it's your turn. So, what I'm going to say about Taylor comes not just from me, but from the many people that I asked to tell me about her, and also from the emails and the texts that I saw when she was nominated. Taylor has been a dedicated and powerful child advocate in Miami-Dade County for over 30 years. That's a long time. It's 3 decades. It's most of your adult life. Taylor has served as a volunteer and staff guardian ad litem to dependent children of all ages and with a multitude of disabilities. She is a warrior doing whatever it takes to make sure system partners in the court truly hear what children need and, more importantly, what children deserve. She is mild-mannered, but carries a big stick. She is neither intimidated by judges or lawyers. She never gives up. If a judge fails to see it her way, she finds another argument, another path for what she knows is right. Community partners, judges, court staff, and the legal community will tell you that when Taylor is advocating for a child, their needs never fall through the cracks. She is dogged in her advocacy. Taylor's example should guide everyone in this room, especially the young guardian ad litems here. Judges and lawyers, believe it or not, are not always right. If you believe that the best interest of a child is not being satisfied, then stand your ground in a respectful way and advocate for what you know is the right thing. Eventually, you will prevail. This is what Taylor always did. She was always willing to go above and beyond her job description to make sure our children and families were safe and that their voices were heard. Very important. Becky Gill told me that Taylor was not only an advocate, but she was extremely knowledgeable about every aspect of child welfare. Since she filled many roles and positions throughout her 30 years with the Guardian Ad Litem program, she intimately understood every part of the system. Staffing cases with Taylor was never quick because she was thoroughly briefed on every facet of the case, having thoroughly investigated the case and having spoken with everyone involved, whether parents, therapists, caregivers, or teachers. In other words, gathering all the collateral evidence, and you know how I feel about collateral evidence, those of you who have practiced in front of me. She used this knowledge to obtain the best result for children and their families, to facilitate partnerships and create innovative approaches to problems, always doing so with a calm and respectful demeanor, but with an iron will. She never asked or sought acknowledgement for all her efforts. She worked behind the scenes for 30 years with one goal in mind, helping children and families. For the last 14 years, Taylor has served as a volunteer supervisor, training, guiding, mentoring, and assisting volunteer guardians to best represent abused and abandoned children with cases before the court. Presently, she serves on the Reunification Celebration Committee, helping to plan the circuit's Reunification Day. She is there for every food drive, every school backpack distribution, every Christmas toy wrapping with our beloved Bunchy. Days, night, weekends, it does not matter. A vacation? What vacation? All children need a Taylor in their lives. Now I want to talk briefly about what touched me most, and that is that you traveled around the state on your own dime to visit dependent children that were in SIPs. I mean, that's just amazing. And you did this for years. These psychiatric facilities, I've been in them, can be very, very lonely and very cold places to be. These children were out of the community. Their family was in Miami, but they usually were in the middle of the state. And Taylor went to visit them to make sure that they weren't lonely, to make sure that they were being treated well, and to make sure that she could bring their wishes back to the court. She brought them joy. She brought them hope. Similarly, before court appearances, Taylor would meet with every child. She developed strong bonds with these children because she cared enough to go the extra mile. She made them feel comfortable before they went into court. They trusted her. So many. You are an example and a hero, and I'm proud to present you with this Wall of Honor award.
Thank you, everyone. Well, I didn't prepare anything. And I'm nervous as heck about standing in front of you. So I'll be super, super short. But when I first heard that I was getting this award, I was totally like shocked, just flabbergasted, and so humbled. But then I thought, like Judge Safik, it's about time. Yeah. I started probably not just shortly after Tracy, and I think we invented Take Your Kids to Work Day because my niece and nephew were the same age as Jake and Madison. They'd all be running around the courtrooms under the tables, picking up paper clips that the clerk dropped. You know, it was a madhouse. But what got me involved in the Guardian program in 1988. So I said I'd be short, and I'm not going to give a chronological year by year. In 1988, my brother was going through a divorce custody case. And I was thinking, the judge was making, I thought, the horrible decisions for the kids. So my mother, my mother, who's 96, sitting right there. After she and my father put us, the five of us, through college, she went to college, and she got a degree in social work in her 50s. And she went to work in the child welfare system. So I'd be really frustrated about what was happening over in, the family court with my brother's case. And it's like, my mother would keep saying, well, you can't do anything about your niece and nephew, but you can advocate for other children, become a guardian ad litem. And she did that for months. So finally, I think I went through training in March 89, and 30 hours of training over at Grove Isle, where one of our supervisors had live. And I walked out of there after 30 hours of training, and I said, oh my God, what did I get myself into? I don't remember a thing of what I heard. And at the time, I decided to take a case, and I took my first case from Joni Goodman, who's on the Wall of Honor, who couldn't be here today because she's out of town. But, and Joni gave my first case. It was an 11-year-old who had allegedly been sexually abused by her father. And I actually recently got a voicemail message from that child who's like 40-something years old. So I stuck with that case, and then on that case, DCF did a diligent search and couldn't find the mother. So I found the mother living in the state of Washington. So there became an opening in the Guardian program, and Shirley Spear, who was the supervisor at the time, also on the Wall of Honor, she called me up. She says, you know, we have an opening here. I think you should come and apply. So Joni Goodman was on leave with the Florida Bar Association in Tallahassee, I think, for a year. You remember all this? Yeah. So the person who was our acting director, who's not on the Wall of Honor, Daniela Levine Cava, she hired me. That's who hired me. So we can blame my mother. We can blame Daniela that I'm still here. But yeah, so that was 33 years. And, you know, I worked with most of you and really happy and honored to do so. And so thank you so much.
Thank you, Mom, for insisting.
Oh, no.
Come, Mom. Come, Mom. Of course you
I
can.
have to say one other thing. My mother, you know, for years she took, until pre-pandemic, I guess she would take a course every once in a while. And she took a course from one of the lifelong learning centers out at U of M. And Kathy Redmond, who's on the Wall of Honor, who is with the Public Defender's Office. Kathy and I worked on a lot of cases with the SIP boys, the statewide intensive psychiatric programs. A lot of teenagers, and I think Judge Bernstein remembers, oh, I have to tell this story.
Stay.
I was sidebar one time in Judge Bernstein's courtroom with one of the teenage boys, and a lot of the kids in the psychiatric were teenagers. Although a few were like 8, 9. But anyways, I was standing there, and Judge Bernstein, while I'm talking to him sidebar, and he's looking at me like, I go, what's wrong, Judge? He says, you have been wrapping your top, gesticulating like a rapper. Hanging around with us. I said, oh, I'm sorry. And he goes, you've been doing it for months. So anyways, so Kathy Redmond took a course. Turned out she took a course with my mother. And we were at a fundraiser one time for Judge Lederman, the last time she thought she was running the post. And Kathy said, I'm taking a class with your mother, and it's a writing class, and your mother's telling all your family secrets. Oh my God, it was horrible. But anyway. So go easy on me. No,
So
I'll be very free.
come forward so everybody can.
I can't keep from crying, though, that's the only problem. Taylor was the oldest of 5, and she helped me raise the other 4. And they called her the sheriff. But she was always there.
You leave Mom alone.
She was always there by my side, helping to raise the other 4.
There were only 7 years difference.
She used to carry the youngest one around on her hip. So that's all I have to say. She's just been a wonderful daughter all her life, all her life.
Yes.
If I'd have known this, I would have, and she downplays it. So I would have had her siblings, the ones who could come, I would have had them here, because she deserves to have had them here. Absolutely. But she downplayed everything.
Well, we thank you, Mom, for your insistence, and which led her to this beautiful career that she's had and all the lives that she's touched in such a meaningful way. And as you can see, folks, these 2 women are so humble. They're just so humble. And it's wonderful to be able to recognize your dedication and your hard work today. So I'm getting to that point where I have the lump in my throat, the tears are starting to come out. So I've asked Judge Zayas to come, our Associate Administrative Judge, to come and say a few words and closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Caballero. So it is amazing, the humility and the work and the humility. And it is very impressive. When I first spoke to Tracy about the award, I was told, oh, I don't want anybody to present. I don't like attention. I don't want this. And I explained to her that, well, it helps the flow. We need a presenter. It's part of the program. So I gave her some thoughts, and of course, my first thought was Madison. Madison having appeared before me as an assistant state attorney and having appeared before me helping her mother do some adoptions. I thought, well, that was my first choice. And Tracy says, oh, I haven't even told her about the award. We're 2 weeks out. What are you thinking? So I'm not surprised, Taylor or Tracy. I'm given the amount of work they do, the grace in which they do it, I am not surprised that neither one told the rest of the family. So I'm going to take this opportunity to say, first and foremost, congratulations to you both for a very well-deserved recognition. I can personally attest to their commitment to the system, they both appear before me with grace, professionalism, even during difficult situations, and it certainly has been a pleasure to observe their passion, their professionalism, and their dedication to the children and families in their cases. But they've also contributed, as you've heard, greatly to the child welfare system as a whole in Miami-Dade County, not only on their own cases, but the way they work collaboratively with the others on systemic issues, their work on court committees, and all of those things that happen outside of court. I often say as a judge, as difficult it is being a judge in this division, a lot of the heavy lifting takes place outside of court, outside of the courtroom, with all of the staffings and the midnight calls and all that other stuff. So I can attest to their grace under fire in those, and how they've mentored others and helped others. And this is going to go back to what Judge Safey was saying, recognize the importance of what we do in this building, what each and every one of us do in this building. So on behalf of the Unified Children's Court Administration, I want to thank you all for being here today to help our honorees celebrate this very joyous day. I also want to thank each and every one of you who are here not only for our honorees, but for our children, for your continued efforts on behalf of the children and the families that appear before the Unified Children's Court, and your support of the other professionals in the child welfare system and the volunteers who work in the system. I want to close with this. Remember, we do this once a year. We recognize 2 very dedicated child welfare advocates, 2 a year. So I want to encourage you all to take a moment, look outside. We have a list of the John Balikas Award recipients outside on the wall outside. We also have on the 12th floor the Wall of Honor with photographs and everything. I want each and every one of you to take an opportunity, if not today, some other day, go look at the wall, look at the honorees in the past. And as we heard, what? They're not on the wall already? So you might find that there is somebody who's deserving that you thought was there and is not. So this would be an opportunity to look out for the nomination forms for next year. And Sergio, I believe, is the recipient and gathers all of those and then gives it to the committee, and we'll take a look at that. So you might see somebody who's not there, but you also might look at the honorees as an inspiration for the work that you do each and every day. On those difficult days, say, yeah, I can keep doing this because it's that important. So take a look. And for those of you who did nominate persons, we were so pleased to get so many worthy nominations this year, and it was difficult for the committee to and I want to recognize I have committee members here. It was tough. There were so many. So if your nominee was not recognized this year, submit the nomination again next year. There's always next year, and we thank you for your participation. So once again, thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, and a wonderful summer for those of you who are lucky enough to take the summer off. All right. Anything else? All right, congratulations to you both. And as we say, court's in recess. Okay,